Hey guys, it's Brian Moran with Train Baseball and 10-Step Power Hitting. We're just going to take a quick look at Matt Weiters. He belted a home run off of Matt Garza of the Tampa Bay Rays on opening day. Here's a 3-2 count, and Garza tries to go on the outside corner with a little tailing fastball, and we'll just watch and see how it went for Garza. And obviously, not too well. Just watch the swing a few times, just kind of see what you guys notice. Let you watch it here a few times. And I guess my first impression was that he looked like he got out in front of it a little bit. And that's almost more impressive because he somehow still belts it out, and this wasn't just a few rows deep. He put it 10 to 20 rows deep in the stands. Anyway, and it's an outside pitch. It's on the outer third. It's not necessarily an outside pitch. It's kind of middle away. But it's tailing away from him, and he still manages to get extension, get the bat head out, and gets enough lift on it, even though he's clearly out in front, as you can see here. Obviously, this is after he made contact, but if you see, he's not making that 90-90 that we talk about. His elbow is almost at a 180-degree angle instead of tucking his elbow in and making contact at a 90-degree angle. So we're gonna let this play and stop on the side view so we can really get a good look at what he's doing here. Anyway, so he's got a nice big leg kick, which is probably why he generates so much power. Let me back it up for you a little bit. So we'll leave it right here, and let's get to the point where his foot almost lands at the plate. So he's got nice and high, and we'll go through as he starts coming down. Now when his foot makes contact, let's just say he's making contact, I know he's not there yet, but basically he is doing what we preach here, and where his bat head is pointed, you want to see the line that he makes, and where, I guess what we try to think of is where are you pointing your knob right here, where is that pointing when your foot touches the ground. Where you want to be is exactly where he is. You're almost, if you kind of think of this 90-degree angle that you could make right here, you're almost at 45, but not really. But basically, that's why we want to, I guess, put the emphasis on the knob of your bat and where it's pointing, and you want to point it to the catcher's feet. I mean, if you think about it, if your knob was pointing back towards the backstop, then your bat head would obviously be pointing towards the pitcher, and you'd have a nice long swing to get to the contact point. If your bat head's starting here, I mean, think about it, then by the time the pitch comes in, your bat head's going to have to move from behind your head. I mean, you think like Julio Franco, he did this, and I'm not ever going to advise you to try to swing like Julio Franco. I'm not really sure how he ever did that. But anyway, that's why he's the minority, and not many guys do that. But if your bat head is out in front, look how far it's going to have to go. And obviously this isn't some sort of 3D camera, so it's kind of hard to picture, but bear with me as we kind of inch through this. So anyway, so that's where your bat head will be out front if your bat knob is pointing towards the backstop or the umpire. So, and if you're not here, the other extreme would be your bat knob would be pointing out to your front foot or out into the other's batter's box, which would mean your bat head would be out behind you. Then you'd think Chuck Knobloch used to hit like that. You guys probably know some guys that hit like that. I know Cal Ripken used to do that for a while. And I don't see how you can have any power doing that. Yeah, Chuck Knobloch didn't have too much power. He's really the only guy I can think of that hit like that. But your swing is, yeah, your swing's short, but your wrists are almost going to be broken if your bat head is pointing backwards. And that's what doesn't make much sense to me. I'm not sure why you would want to do that. I mean, if your wrists are already broken, you're not going to be making this 90-degree that he is here. I mean, if his bat head is pointed, if this was his bat pointed backwards, this wrist would be broken. It would have to be almost straight for him to be able to point the back like that, which takes away every ounce of bat speed that you have because he's making this 90-degree angle. That's what's going to give him that whip of the bat through the zone. So, I mean, you want to focus right here, and that's the angle you want to be making with your hands so you still have that whip through the zone. The next thing we want to check on is if he's using the pop and drop philosophy, we have a drill here called stop, drop, and pop, and your stop is going to be when you make contact. That's kind of your holding pattern. That's step one of the drill that we teach. And step two is the drop and pop, and after that is your fire, and that's your fire just means your swing. So stop, which basically means come to the stopping point in the drill. We stop right here when your foot makes contact with the ground. And your drop and pop is the part that I'm going to talk about real quick. If you see, when he makes contact with us, he's not landing flat-footed. This heel is actually up off the ground. There's space between the heel and the ground. And you check his back heel, and it's touching the ground. So what he's going to do, and you watch him do this here, he does it perfectly. If you're going to be a power hit, not necessarily power hitter, but if you want to hit the ball hard, this is something you're going to have to learn how to do. And a lot of guys have trouble with it, and it's something that if you don't do currently, it's such a hard habit to break because you either land flat-footed or you open up too much. But what we're going to try to show you what he's doing is he is going to drop this front heel and simultaneously lift the back heel. So he's going to drop and pop, and I'll show you here, right, if we can get this video to go. There's the drop of the front heel. You guys all see that making contact with the ground. He has dropped that front heel down. And see the back heel is now going to start to pop up, and there it is. Let me get this marker so you can see what I'm talking about. Right there. He has dropped and he has popped. Dropped and popped. Don't let that escape your mind somehow. If you come out of this video with one thing, that's what he has done. And what you see him doing is, I mean, I guess it's obvious to me, but if you've never seen this before, it might not be. But in dropping the front heel, you're going to get to a point where you're making a firm front side because you're going to drop your weight down, which is going to make this front leg straighten out. And this is, Weiters gets fooled on this pitch, so he actually doesn't do it here, which is crazy impressive that he's that strong, but I'll explain that in a sec. But dropping or popping this back heel lets your front knee start to move forward. It starts to wrap around and open up your hips. See how everything starts to move forward? Everything's going to go in this forward motion because you have space back here. You have popped your back foot. So now we're going to move through. Everything's continuing to move forward. And this is the point we'll show you here. It's right before he makes contact. He is getting to the point where he is going to firm out his front side, and he's beginning to lock out this knee. Basically what that means is, see how his knee right now isn't locked out. He still has a little bit of bend. Sorry, it's an arrow, should be a line, but he has a little bit of bend there. You want to get to the point where this knee pushes back and creates a straight front side. We call that a firm front side because it's straightened out so that you can throw your weight forward into it. And I'll show you that here in a sec. He almost gets to that point, but because he's so far out in front, you see the ball out here, he's going to make contact pretty far out front. Here we go. This is absolutely perfect. And he's almost there. Granted, he is inches away from locking out that front side. But if you ask him, yeah, he hit a home run here, but I bet you this was actually an accidental home run because he probably didn't want to make contact out here. To get to that 90-degree angle, if his elbow was there, the bat head would actually be here, and this would be his contact point. And he would have smoked the ball up the middle and maybe hit a home run to center. And instead, the pitcher, he threw a fastball, but somehow Weiters was still out in front and made contact out here, which is why it's not a 90-90 contact. It is this angle right here is almost 180 degrees. It's probably 160, 150 degrees. So, and that's pretty much it. I think that's what we can get from Weiters here is, number one, he is a ridiculously strong athlete. The fact that he can take that pitch and hit it out of the ballpark. I mean, obviously, that's why these guys are in the pros and doing what they're doing, that he can get fooled and reach with one arm virtually and hit the ball out of the ballpark with authority. Again, I think if you ask him, he'd want to wait a little bit longer and get contact to that 90-90 degree, that 90-90 position, and smoke the ball back up the middle. I think that would be his goal here. But obviously he's going to settle for making a mistake and hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But yeah, so the biggest thing that he does do right is he does the drop and pop perfectly. He lands the front foot, pops the back one, gets his weight transfer going forward, gets to the point where he's almost locked out his front knee, but not quite, and that's because he got fooled. So that's pretty much it for this swing, and check back for more in a little bit.